First contact and escalation. The starship Pathfinder cut silently through the darkness of deep space, its sleek hull reflecting the distant starlight as it approached the edge of chartered territory. Captain Alina Reyes stood on the observation deck, her dark eyes fixed on the swirling nebula ahead. 20 years in the Earth Space Command had prepared her for many things, but nothing quite like this mission. Humanity's first deliberate venture beyond the safety of their solar neighborhood. "Status report," she called, her voice calm despite the tension coiling inside her. Commander Darren Way looked up from his console. "All systems nominal, Captain. We're detecting unusual energy signatures from the fourth planet in the Cygnus system. Definitely artificial." Elena nodded, keeping her expression neutral despite the excitement rushing through her veins. Humanity had wondered for centuries if they were alone in the universe. Now, 30 light years from Earth, they were about to find out. "Take us in slowly," she ordered. "Passive scans only. Let's not announce ourselves too loudly until we know what we're dealing with." The bridge crew worked with quiet efficiency as the Pathfinder altered course. Dr. Sanjay Patel, their xenobiologist, joined Elena at the viewport. "History in the making," he murmured, a smile crinkling the corners of his eyes. "After all our searching, all our listening to the stars, let's hope they're friendly." Elena replied. "The first page of our contact protocols might be useless if they decide to shoot first." Within hours, the fourth planet came into view, a swirling marble of blue-green oceans and rust-colored continents. But it was what orbited the planet that left the crew speechless. Massive orbital structures, gleaming with lights, and connected by what appeared to be transportation tubes. A civilization not just planet-bound but spread throughout their system. "Captain," the communications officer called urgently. "We're receiving a transmission. It's in multiple formats. One of them appears to be mathematical in nature." Elena straightened her uniform. "Put it through." The main screen flickered to life, displaying sequences of symbols, prime numbers, geometric formations, and finally, images. They were looking at the inhabitants of this world. Tall, slender beings with iridescent skin that seemed to shift colors as they moved, 4 arms, and large compound eyes. Dr. Patel was already running the transmission through the universal translator they'd brought. It was based on mathematical principles that their best minds believed would be common to any technological civilization. "They're called the Alvari," he announced after several tense minutes. "And if I'm interpreting this correctly, they're welcoming us." The first contact proceeded better than anyone on Earth could have hoped. The Alvari, it turned out, were philosophers and scientists, a species that had evolved beyond warfare millennia ago. They had detected the Pathfinder's approach and chosen to initiate contact rather than wait. Over the following weeks, the humans learned that they had stumbled upon not just one alien civilization, but an entire galactic community. The Alvari served as their guides, explaining the complex political landscape beyond Earth's knowledge. "There are 17 spacefaring civilizations within this sector alone," explained Televen, the Alvari diplomat assigned to the humans. Her skin rippled with patterns of blue and green as she spoke. "Most coexist peacefully under the Concordat, a treaty established 10,000 of your years ago." "And those who don't?" Elena asked, sensing the unspoken tension. Televen's colors darkened momentarily. "The Draxians, a warrior culture from the Outer Rim. They believe in conquest as a divine right and view diplomacy as weakness. They've been expanding aggressively for centuries." Dr. Patel leaned forward. "Have they threatened your people?" "Not directly. The Alvari systems are protected by our alliance with other Concordat members. But the Draxians test boundaries constantly. They seek technological advantages, strategic resources, and they study new species carefully to assess their potential threat or value." Elena felt a chill at those words. "And how will they view humanity, do you think?" Televen's compound eyes fixed on Elena. "That remains to be seen, Captain Reyes. But I would prepare your people. News of your arrival has already spread through subspace communications. The Draxians will come to evaluate you. The Alvari's warning proved prophetic. Barely 3 months after first contact, as the Pathfinder prepared to return to Earth with news of their discoveries, 3 massive vessels appeared at the edge of the system. Their design was all sharp angles and protruding weapons arrays, nothing like the elegant curves of Alvari ships. Draxian warships, Televan confirmed, her colors pulsing with alarm patterns. Class 3 destroyers. This is unprecedented. They usually send scouts first. The lead Draxian vessel transmitted immediately, bypassing the Alvari orbital communications network. The creature that appeared on the screen bore little resemblance to the peaceful Alvari. Heavily armored with an exoskeleton of overlapping plates, the Draxian commander's face was dominated by mandibles and 4 black eyes that showed no emotion. "I am War Captain Kreznar of the Draxian Empire," the translator rendered in a flat monotone. "We have come to assess the human species. Your vessel will submit to boarding and inspection." Elena stood, straightening to her full height. "I am Captain Elena Reyes of the Earth vessel Pathfinder. We are here on a peaceful mission of exploration under the protection of the Alvari Concordat. We do not recognize your authority to board or inspect our ship." The Draxian's mandibles clicked rapidly. Whether in amusement or anger was impossible to tell. Protection. The Alvari hide behind treaties while stronger species determine the fate of this galaxy. You align yourself poorly, human. The Draxian Empire will decide your species' place in the order of things. "Captain," Commander Wei whispered urgently, "their weapons systems are powering up. They outgun us by at least 20 to 1. Elena kept her eyes fixed on the screen. "Our place is not yours to determine, War Captain. Humanity charts its own course." "Bold words from a primitive species," Kreznar replied. "Your technology is rudimentary. Your single ship fragile. Your homeworld, from what our intelligence suggests, divided and vulnerable. You will submit, or we will demonstrate the cost of defiance." The transmission cut abruptly. Elena turned to her crew, faces tense but determined. "Battle stations," she ordered calmly. "Activate the Heimdall protocol." Commander Wei's eyes widened. "Captain, that's only 4. "I know exactly what it's for, Commander. Execute the order." Deep within the Pathfinder, systems that had remained dormant throughout the mission hummed to life. The ship's seemingly civilian design had concealed capabilities that even the Alvari sensors had failed to detect. From the observation lounge, Televan watched in confusion as sections of the Pathfinder's hull reconfigured, revealing weapon ports and defense systems far beyond what the Alvari had assumed humans possessed. "You concealed your true capabilities," she said, her colors shifting to patterns Elena had not seen before. "Why?" "A precaution," Elena replied simply. "Humanity has known war, Televan. We've learned to hope for peace while preparing for alternatives." On the bridge, Tactical Officer Lieutenant Santos reported, "Draxian vessels moving to surround us. They're charging main weapons." Elena nodded. "Open a channel." When Kreznar's image appeared again, Elena spoke with quiet authority. "War Captain, I suggest you reconsider your approach. We came in peace, but we are prepared to defend ourselves." "With what?" Mandibles clicked in what was definitely amusement now. "Your single vessel against 3 Draxian destroyers. Your species' arrogance will be corrected swiftly." "Perhaps," Elena acknowledged. "But arrogance cuts both ways. You mistake our restraint for weakness. That would be unwise." The Draxian commander's response was to fire a warning shot that blazed past the Pathfinder's bow. "Final warning," Kreznar declared. "Power down your systems and prepare for boarding, or we will cripple your vessel and take your crew as specimens for study." Elena gave a slight nod to her tactical officer. The Pathfinder's concealed systems came fully online, generating energy readings that caused the Alvari monitoring stations to trigger proximity alarms. "What is happening?" Televan gasped as displays showed the Pathfinder's power signature suddenly multiplying. "Showing our hand," Elena replied grimly. "But only partially." The ensuing exchange lasted less than 3 minutes. The Draxian vessels fired, expecting to overwhelm the seemingly outmatched human ship. Instead, their shots encountered advanced shielding technology that absorbed and diffused the energy. The Pathfinder's response was precise, disabling the weapons systems on 2 Draxian ships while leaving their life support intact. When the brief battle ended, Kresnar's image appeared again on the screen, mandibles tight against his face in what Elena now recognized as fury. "This deception will not be forgotten. Human," he hissed. "You have revealed your species as a threat. The Draxian Empire does not tolerate threats." "We revealed ourselves as equals," Elena corrected. "Nothing more, nothing less. Return to your territory, War Captain. Tell your leaders that humanity seeks peace with all species, but will always defend itself." As the damaged Draxian vessels retreated, Televan approached Elena, her colors now pulsing with rapid patterns of blue and gold. "You have made a powerful enemy today," she said quietly. "The Draxians do not forgive, and they do not forget." Elena turned to face the Alvari diplomat. "Then it's fortunate we're quick learners. Now, we need to accelerate our return to Earth. My government needs to understand what we've discovered, both the opportunities and the dangers." But even as the Pathfinder charted its course home, Draxian communication relays were already transmitting to their empire's outer colonies. The humans had revealed capabilities beyond what their technological development should allow. This anomaly required investigation and elimination. On the bridge, Elena studied the long-range scans, knowing that their first encounter with the Draxians would not be their last. Humanity had just stepped onto a much larger stage, with older, more powerful players. The universe had suddenly become both more wondrous and more dangerous than anyone on Earth had imagined. "Set course for home," she ordered. "Maximum speed. We need to prepare." The human variable. 6 months after the Pathfinder's return, Earth had transformed. The knowledge that humanity was not alone in the universe, and that not all alien civilizations were friendly, had unified the planet's nations in ways that centuries of diplomacy have failed to achieve. Defense budgets were reallocated, scientific research accelerated, and the first interstellar colony, Novaterra, was hastily established in a nearby star system as an insurance policy against potential threats to Earth. Elena Reyes, now Admiral of Earth's rapidly expanding defense fleet, stood in the United Earth Government's underground command center beneath Geneva. Holographic displays showed the status of ships and installations throughout human-controlled space. "The Alvari diplomatic mission arrives tomorrow," announced Director of Extraterrestrial Affairs Lucia Kwan. "They've been intercepted by our outermost patrols and are being escorted in." Elena nodded, "And still no sign of Draxian activity near our borders." "Nothing directly," replied General Marcus Chen, head of military intelligence. "But our new long-range sensors have detected increased activity in 3 systems adjacent to Alvari space. The Concordat representatives believe it's the prelude to something bigger." The room fell silent as they contemplated the implications. Earth had been accelerating its defensive preparations, but the technology gap between humanity and the Draxians remained substantial. What they lacked in advancement, they had tried to make up for in innovation and redundancy, distributing their forces, creating fallback protocols, and developing technologies that played to human strengths rather than trying to match Draxian capabilities directly. "How's Project Lazarus progressing?" Elena asked. Dr. Eliza Morgan, chief scientist for the Defense Initiative, looked up from her datapad. "The distributed AI defense network is at 87% completion. We've hidden nodes throughout the solar system, hardened against known Draxian scanning techniques. If they strike, we'll be ready to implement the full response protocol." "Let's hope it doesn't come to that," Director Kwan said quietly. The next day, the Alvari delegation arrived, led by Televan herself. The reunion between the diplomat and Alina was warm, but underscored by urgency. "The Draxians have been silent too long," Televen explained during the private briefing. "Our intelligence suggests they've been studying everything we know about humans, analyzing the encounter with your Pathfinder vessel, searching for weaknesses." "And what conclusions have they reached?" asked President Safia Okafor, who had insisted on attending despite security concerns. "That you are dangerous," Televen replied simply, her colors shifting to deep crimson. "Not because of your current capabilities, but because of your potential. The Draxians believe in dominance established early. They conquer emerging species before they can become rivals. Then why haven't they moved against us yet?" General Chen pressed. "Because they're preparing something definitive." Televen's compound eyes seemed to dim. "The Concordat has received intelligence that they plan to target your colony world first, then launch a simultaneous strike against key Earth defenses. They want to demonstrate your vulnerability, to break your will before you grow stronger." The human leaders exchanged grim looks. Nova Terra housed 50,000 colonists, scientists, engineers, and civilians who had volunteered to establish humanity's first foothold beyond the solar system. "How much time do we have?" Alina asked. "Days, perhaps." "No more than a week," Televen replied. "The Concordat Council is deadlocked on intervention. Many fear triggering a full-scale conflict with the Draxian Empire." President Okafor stood, her decision already made. "Then we stand alone. Admiral Reyes, implement Defense Protocol Omega immediately. We will not wait to be attacked." The warning came too late. That night, as the defense forces scrambled to reinforce Nova Terra, the long-range communication arrays went silent. When they re-established contact 6 hours later, the images transmitted from the colony were devastating. 3 Draxian heavy cruisers hung in orbit above Nova Terra, methodically targeting the settlement's major infrastructure. The colony's small defense force had been obliterated in the opening minutes of the attack. In the command center, Alina watched the grainy footage with a stone face. "Casualties?" she asked, her voice tight. "Unknown," replied the communications officer, "but the residential sectors were hit in the first wave. Before communications failed, the colony governor reported at least 30% of the habitation domes had been breached." President Okafor's hands gripped the situation table, knuckles white. "Options, Admiral." "Nova Terra is 13 light-years away. Even our fastest ships would take days to respond," Alina said. "By then." She didn't need to finish the sentence. Everyone in the room understood the implications. Thousands of human lives had likely already been lost. "The Draxians have violated every principle of the Concordat," Televen said, her colors now pulsing with patterns that the humans had learned indicated extreme distress. "This is not a measured response or even an act of war as they define it. This is extermination." General Chen approached with a data tablet. "Madam President, Nova Terra may be beyond immediate help, but we can still respond." "How?" President Okafor demanded. "Project Lazarus," Alina said, meeting the president's eyes. "It's time to show our hand. Not partially this time, but fully." President Okafor considered for only a moment before nodding. "Execute." Throughout the solar system, systems that had been built in secret since the Pathfinder's return hummed to life. Deep within Mars' moon Phobos, beneath the ice of Europa, hidden in the rings of Saturn, and in the shadow of Earth's moon, massive bay doors slid open. Ships emerged, vessels unlike anything humans had publicly acknowledged building. On distant Nova Terra, the Draxian commander Kresnar surveyed the destruction with satisfaction. The human colony was in ruins, its pathetic defenses obliterated. Soon, his fleet would move against their homeworld, as the Emperor had commanded. These humans needed to be subjugated now, before they could develop further. War Captain, his second-in-command, approached. "Sensors are detecting unusual energy signatures from the colony's southern hemisphere." Kresnar clicked his mandibles dismissively. "Residual power systems or damaged reactors." Continue the bombardment. Sir, these readings are inconsistent with known human technology. Before Krasnar could respond, the ground beneath the ruined colony began to shift. Massive sections of what had appeared to be natural terrain slid apart, revealing hidden launch bays. From these concealed facilities rose defense platforms and ships that had been hidden from orbital scans. Impossible, Krasnar hissed. The intelligence was clear. This colony had minimal defenses. On the command ship's screen, a human face appeared. A woman with silver-streaked dark hair and eyes that burned with cold fury. "This is Governor Diana Chen of Nova Terra," she stated. "You have attacked a civilian settlement and murdered thousands of innocent people. You will not leave this system." Krasnar clicked his mandibles in what might have been laughter. "Your hidden toys do not concern us, human. They will be destroyed like everything else." "You misunderstand," Governor Chen replied. "We're not trying to win. We're keeping you here." At that moment, alarms blared across the Draxian vessels as new contacts appeared on their sensors. Dozens of them, materializing seemingly from nowhere. The ships had emerged from concealed fold space jumps, a technology the Draxians had believed was centuries beyond human capability. On the bridge of the Earth Defense Force flagship Nemesis, Admiral Elena Reyes gave the order. "All vessels, engage. Priority targets are their propulsion and weapons systems. We take prisoners today." The battle that followed would later be studied in military academies across the galaxy. The Draxian vessels, though technologically superior in many ways, found themselves caught in a perfectly executed trap. The hidden Nova Terra defenses prevented their escape into orbit, while the Earth fleet closed from above. Most surprising to the Draxians was the nature of human tactics. Rather than the straightforward assault they expected from a primitive species, the human ships operated with a fluid coordination that bordered on prescience, adapting instantly to Draxian countermeasures. "How are they anticipating our maneuvers?" Krasnar demanded as another barrage struck precisely where his ship's shields had momentarily weakened. What the Draxian commander couldn't know was that the distributed AI network of Project Lazarus was processing combat data across all engaged vessels simultaneously, identifying patterns in Draxian tactics that no human commander could have recognized in real time. Within 3 hours, the battle was over. 2 Draxian vessels were destroyed, and Krasnar's command ship was crippled, its weapons disabled, its propulsion systems offline. Admiral Reyes personally led the boarding party. When she stepped onto the Draxian command deck, she found Krasnar still in his control chair, mandibles clicking softly. "You deceived us," he said, black eyes fixed on her. "Your colony, your capabilities, all a trap." "No," Elena replied. "Nova Terra is exactly what we claimed, a civilian research colony. The deception was yours, War Captain. You assumed that because we seek peace, we are unprepared for war." She stepped closer, her voice lowering. "Humanity's history is written in conflict, Krasnar. We've fought ourselves more viciously than you can imagine. We've stood on the brink of our own extinction by our own hands. We know war intimately, which is precisely why we choose peace when possible. The Emperor will not accept this defeat," Krasnar warned. "The full might of the Draxian Empire will descend upon your worlds." Elena smiled thinly. "Will it? I wonder if your Emperor might reconsider when he sees what else we've been concealing." On her command, the view screen activated, showing a feed from Earth orbit. There, a massive structure was taking shape, a defense platform that dwarfed anything in the known galaxy. "This is merely the first," Elena explained. "We began building it the day the Pathfinder returned with news of the Draxians. There are 3 more under construction at key points in our system." Krasnar's mandibles stilled. "Impossible. Your species could not advance so quickly. That's the thing about humans, War Captain. When united by a common threat, there's little we cannot accomplish." Elena turned to leave, then paused. "Oh, and those fold space drives your sensors detected. Reverse engineered from salvage we discovered on Mars decades ago. ancient technology, left behind by travelers unknown even to the Concordat. We've been keeping quiet about that too. 3 weeks later, in the Alvari Concordat's Grand Assembly, representatives from 17 civilizations watched as the Draxian Empire signed a non-aggression pact with Earth. Standing beside President Okafor, Televen's colors rippled with patterns that indicated both awe and concern. "You changed the balance of power in a single stroke," she observed quietly. "The Draxians have never negotiated with an emerging species before." President Okafor smiled diplomatically. Perhaps they simply needed the right motivation. Later, in private, Televen was more direct with Elena. The defense platform, the fold space technology, were they real? Elena's expression revealed nothing. Does it matter? The Draxians believe they are. And the salvage on Mars. That part was true, actually, though perhaps not as extensive as we implied. Televen's colors shifted to a pattern Elena now recognized as amazement. "Your species is unsettling, Admiral Reyes. You present yourselves as peaceful explorers, yet prepare for war more thoroughly than the most paranoid Concordat strategist. You speak of cooperation while concealing capabilities even from allies." "It's called survival," Elena replied simply. "Something humans have gotten very good at over the millennia. We genuinely desire peace and partnership with other civilizations, but we will never again be caught unprepared." As they gazed out at the stars visible through the Concordat station's viewport, Televen asked one final question. "What will humanity do now, with the Draxians contained and your place in the galactic community secured?" Elena considered this for a moment. "Explore, learn, trade, build relationships. All the things we set out to do when the Pathfinder first left Earth. But we'll keep our shields up, just in case." News of the human victory spread quickly through subspace communications. Within months, other species that had suffered under Draxian aggression sought alliances with Earth. The Concordat, initially reluctant to fully embrace such an unpredictable new member, found itself increasingly influenced by human diplomatic initiatives and technological exchanges. One standard galactic year after the Battle of Novaterra, a minor species on the galaxy's rim captured a Draxian scout vessel that had ventured into their territory. When questioned about their presence, the Draxian commander gave a response that would eventually become famous throughout civilized space. "We were merely passing through. We have no quarrel with your kind." "Then why did your empire previously claim this system as its territory?" demanded the local defense minister. The Draxian's mandibles clicked in what had become a universally recognized gesture of discomfort. "Circumstances change. Priorities shift. Because of the humans," the minister pressed. After a long pause, the Draxian commander answered simply, "We have learned there are species one does not provoke without calculation. The humans are one such species." And so a new understanding spread throughout the galaxy. Not that humans were the strongest or most advanced civilization, but perhaps the most unpredictable. A species that valued peace yet excelled at war. That presented one face to the universe while preparing another in shadow. That could advance in years what took others centuries. On Earth, standing before the newly established Galactic Affairs Council, Admiral Elena Reyes delivered a speech that would define humanity's approach to its new place in the cosmos. "We came to the stars seeking knowledge and friendship, and we still do. But we brought with us the hard-won wisdom of our own history. Humanity extends an open hand to all who would be our allies and partners. But never forget that same hand can form a fist if needed. This is not a threat, but a promise. We will defend what is ours, protect those who cannot protect themselves, and never again allow the strong to prey upon the vulnerable, whether they be human or otherwise." Throughout the galaxy, species both ancient and emerging considered these words carefully, and one by one, they decided that humans made far better allies than enemies. That was the ultimate lesson, and why no one provokes humans anymore.